No, no, you guys, it's back. It's back. The fear porn. Armageddon's here again. Oh man, the fear, the fear porn. It's ridiculous. Armageddon's here again. The sky's falling. The sky's falling. Oh, hey, everybody. If you never heard this channel before, this is Joey's weekly positive message, and yeah, we are back. It's been a while. I haven't done a weekly positive message in a while, so I'm going to try to upbeat and redo some, try to make some sense out of this crazy shit going on. But yeah, if you've been paying attention to the news and everything, Iran, oh no, Iran and Israel, they're gonna blow the whole world up, and it's all Trump's fault again. And oh man, what a great world we live in. Oh man. So hopefully I can give you a perspective that's not on the news, and hopefully it will inspire you to turn that fear porn channel off and not pay attention to it. I don't even watch TV anymore. So what's the point? You know, it's some other propaganda. With whatever, and then a 3 minute uh, propaganda commercial break that tries to sell you something you don't need for a price you can't afford, just to go back into another, uh, topic or subject that gives you more fear and more worry. And you got to be scared in this life. You can't just enjoy it. So, and I don't believe that's how the creator of everything designed it to be. So, uh, let's start by proving that Armageddon is not really here, and uh, that the world is uh, truly hypnotized by fear porn. So I don't know if you remember, just a few years ago, this thing called COVID-19 hit the fan, right? And oh, the world is going to end. We're all going to die. And oh God, how do we get away? It's all Trump's fault. And oh God, what's going to happen? We're all going to get sick and die. Well, okay, some people did, and some people didn't. Just like every day. Some people go to work and come home to their families and go to bed and do it all over again and 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 again. And then someday they die. Okay. And some people get up in the morning and they go to work and then they die. And some people get up in the morning and then they die. Some people don't even get up in the morning because they died in their sleep. So it's going to happen to everybody. Oh, there's some Armageddon for you. Be scared because someday you're going to die. Yeah, but what about in between? Isn't that the most important part? How you live. What do you do with the time you do have? Huh. Well, nobody's ever put it that way. Well, try putting a different perspective in your mind. It's not always about fear. Fear is what keeps you uh, instinctful, you know. But you shouldn't absorb your whole reality in it because it'll ruin your life. If you have to be scared of everything, how will you meet new people? How will uh, you know how will things influence? How will positive things influence your life if you're scared of it? So, anyways, let's go. If you've ever been a part of the Abrahamic religions, the branches is what the Jewish, the Torah, right, and then the Christian, which is the biblical, and then the Islamic, which is the Muslim faith. if you've ever heard of those religions or you studied any of it, there's a character in all three books, and his name is Melchizedek, Melchizedek, Melchizedek. So I don't know how to pronounce it. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, don't hold it against me. Melchizedek, and he came uh, during, well, he was considered by Abraham as the priest of the Most High. So he came, and in the Torah and the Bible and Islam in the Quran doesn't say anything about him being born or made out of the clay of the earth or him being an angel or anything like that. It just says, he was a priest, a divine being sent to earth, not an alien, not an ET. Well, technically, I guess he would be an ET, but because he wasn't born on this planet, he came from somewhere else to here as a spiritual being, and he he was uh, friendly with Abraham, and then he, was with Noah. He was within Noah's tribe after the flood, and some people say he was one of the unborn son of Noah, which doesn't make sense because if he was hanging out with Abraham, then he would have to be older than Noah. Uh, and then later on, he was still around, you know, um, in the Quran. He was there before Muhammad and everything. So, and then when you read the scripture and all three biblical texts, you find out it said that he was the one to prepare the world for the coming of the Messiah, the Son of God or whatever, and uh, and everything like that. So, but then one day he just disappeared, and you don't hear about him anymore. And then Muhammad came, and then Jesus came, and John the Baptist, and excuse me, then and then we're here today, right? 2,000 years, well, 2,090 something years later, we're still here and waiting on the world to change, waiting for Armageddon. Oh God! So, and if you believe in well, if you can see with your eyes when you look at the night sky, the stars in the sky, then you can believe in the universe, right? You can believe. I like to call it the monoverse because I believe it's more than just a universe, especially with this new quantum, and the UAP phenomenon, these vehicles that just appear and then can, you know, they're warping, space time or whatever, and then disappearing, you know. So maybe they're going between dimensions or whatever. So if there's a universe, then there has to be some kind of a dimensional reality to it. And so maybe it's not a universe at all. Maybe there's more than one universe, which I would call the monoverse, the verse of all verse, God's verse, right? The creator of everything. So, anyways, that's that's. I don't want to go deep into that because it's a big confusing thing. But if you've ever heard about the Urantia, I don't know how to spell it. I mean, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Urantia book papers. The first 12 papers talk about uh, the realm of God. The three levels of God, and then there's so many universes, and supposedly Urantia, aka Earth, is in the seventh universe, and then blah 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 blah. Long story short, that's that's another topic for a different conversation. But back to Armageddon. uh, yeah, Armageddon, the big puddle of dung that everybody's throwing against the wall to see what sticks. So, uh, if it were true, what would it matter? If the world's ending tomorrow, what would that change? What would that change in you? Ask yourself. What would you change in your life? Would you quit smoking? Would you would you quit drinking? Would you quit uh, doing drugs? Would you quit sinning? Would you quit hating? Would you quit? Would you quit anything? Would you stop doing bad shit to yourself or to others? Probably not. Huh. Would you stop riding in LA? Probably not. Not if it was the last day on Earth. Well, what if your actions today had had any impact on the other side? So what if you stopped being such an idiot and started doing good things and helping people? Helping a stranger. If you see somebody in need, reaching a hand to a stranger and saying, "Hey, how would that impact you if you were to die tomorrow because of Armageddon? How would that influence your, if it's true that when we die, we go to a place and then we are judged by some angry man with a beard and his stern finger pointing at you, and you get to see how your life uh, impacted individuals, the bad and the good and whatever, your life review and whatever, and then you have to feel that pain you caused to other people. How would that impact you today if you knew tomorrow was the last day? Huh. Would that change you? If you say yeah, then why don't you start that shit today? Stop worrying about Armageddon because it's going to happen to you eventually. Your day is going to come. Your number, my number, everybody you know is going to be gone. And there will be either no planet left or there'll be a new generation asking the same damn questions we are right now, listening to the same damn fear porn. The world's going to end. Well, yeah, they've been saying that for about 5,000 years. The end of days. Oh, yeah, that's good. You know, God's going to come from the sky, anger and vengeance, and Jesus is coming in the cloud, and he's gonna get revenge on all the retards who put him on the cross, and then people are going to disappear. They're going to be in the grocery store, and some nice lady pushing her cart's just going to, whoop, bye-bye, gone, invisible. And people are going, where the hell's everybody at? I didn't get my mail. Nobody picking up my trash. And where is everybody? I walked into the DMV. I can't even get my license renewed because there's nobody in there. They're all gone. Just crickets. You know. Well, how come I'm still here? Well, maybe you should have been nicer yesterday. Maybe when you saw somebody who needed help, you should have asked them. So anyway, Armageddon. Whew, that's a painful subject. It's like hearing terminal cancer. Sorry, guy. The reason why you got splitting headaches because you don't have a tumor. We could probably solve that. No, you got terminal cancer. It's in your spine now. So you're not going to be here very much longer. So would that change your life? Would you start being a nicer person to people around you if you knew you had terminal cancer? Well, you do. We all have terminal cancer. It's called life. You're born and then you go, and nobody can tell you any different because it's true. All right. So there's some fear porn for you. All right, let's turn this around. So now we know God works in cycles, right? Okay, the constellations move around, the the nebula and the nebulize, whatever you want to call them. They form, they create, and they turn into planets and stars and everything else, and they have cycles, and then they go away. And every star has a cycle, and then it goes away. Every planet has a cycle, and it goes away because there's no sun for it to go around, and then it freezes, and it turns into a like a leaf from a tree. It's it turns brown and whatever, and disintegrates into the nothingness, right? Okay, so everything does that, you know, and that's what happens to everything. A piece of wood, it either turns into a rock, or it splinters itself and turns into dirt, whatever. That's how things work. Everything's cyclical, right? So if everything's cyclical, then God did it for a reason. The creator of everything did it for a reason. And maybe God has a cycle. So that's why he created everything to have the same, you know. I'm not saying God's going to die, because why would you, if you were the creator of everything and you were able to do whatever you wanted, why would you give yourself a limit? Probably wouldn't. I wouldn't. If I could be a creator of everything, why would I? And even, I created myself. Why would I want to give myself that limit? I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want it. I don't want to go away. So, but everything I design is going to have a limit, so it doesn't outlive me, right? Then and in that way, I'm still in control. Baboom. I don't have an Armageddon. Everything else does. And that way, if I stop paying attention to something, then it'll expire, and I can make it brand new again. Or I can just decide, hey, that was a bad project. I'll not do that again. No big deal. And so we are learning. Maybe God's learning too. Just because we think a certain way, and we educate ourselves a certain way, and we find our purposes a certain way, it doesn't mean that God doesn't do the same thing. He or she or it may learn, by mistakes. Hey, this doesn't work. Think about alchemy. Think about chemicals. Think about medicine. There's testing, trials, and everything else. And if it doesn't work, or nothing good comes out of it, then to stay away from it. Don't eat that tree again. You know, that tree is full of sin. It makes our blood boil. Whatever the thing is. I'm allergic to that, right? How do you know if you don't know you're allergic to something, then you're probably going to eat it. So the only way to know is to try it. And then if you get sick and have to go to the hospital and get an EpiPen, then hey, don't do that again. The fire's hot. Don't touch the stove. That's how we learn, right? So if we're learning, we're a learning species. Maybe God is too. Doesn't that make sense? All right. So Armageddon. So I'm not worried about Armageddon because we're not sending Bruce Willis into space. So I'm not worried. The day Bruce Willis says, "I'm jumping on one of Elon Musk's rockets," I'm like, "Oh shit, we're all gonna die." Oh no. Oh no, here it comes. Oh, that funny guy, comedian. I can't remember his name. The guy that was going wacky, uh, shooting off the automatic whatever on when they got to the meteor. The guy, he had a sitcom on TBS about God, where he was God or one of the gods or something, and it was hilarious. And I've been waiting for them to do a season two. I guess they canceled it, but I thought it was a hit, man. I liked it. I recorded it on my DVR every season. I listened to it like two or three times, and I thought it was hilarious. And so I was thinking about this Armageddon stuff, and I'm like, well, man, if I could make a sitcom, a God sitcom, a funny one, how would I do my first episode? So I thought about this, and I know I'm not dumb, so I know they've already had a try at this. And I know if I ever tried to do it, it probably would have the same result because people don't want to, even if it's funny, they don't want to hear God on TV as entertainment. If I wanted to hear about God, I'd go to church. Yeah, but you wouldn't. Most people don't go to church to hear about God. They go to church to mingle with other people who believe the same belief. To make a friend or to be a part of something, to feel connected, not just with God, but or whatever religion they're practicing, but to feel connected with other people that believe the same thing. And maybe they just have questions. That's the only reason why I even got to religion was because I mean I knew people who were religious, but I never went to them. So I didn't have a curiosity about God really. I didn't feel my life needed it until I was a certain age, and I was like, well, there's got to be more to this than just eating and breathing. you know, what is it? Why am I here? That's the question that led me to start searching out a religion. So, and I've uh, I've succeeded and I've failed with that mission. So, but along the way, I found what I was looking for. So, anyways, I decided if I came out with a sitcom, here's how I would design it. Here's how I would design it. So, uh, scene one, act one. You get two angels with the wings and everything sitting in the conference room next to each other. And there's a big long table. And only two chairs at one end and one chair at the head end. And it's Angel Michael and Gabriel sitting there talking. Whispering and everything. And Michael leans over to Gabriel and he's like, "Hey, Gabriel, what's taking the Most High so long?" And Gabriel replies with a smirk on his face, and he said, "Man, you know how the Almighty is. You know, he uh, he said, if we're not early, then we're late." And Gabriel says, "You remember what happened to the last angel who was late?" And Michael starts laughing, and so does Gabriel at the same time. And at the very same time, they say, "Eternity." So obviously, they're talking about the evil one, right? The Lucifer or whatever. So just then, the door opens, and in walks, you know, uh, an invisible, bright star, an invisibly bright star, and a presence, whatever. It sits at the table down at the far end, and you hear boom, and then there's a closed caption at the bottom of the screen with question marks, and God's speaking, and uh, Michael starts. He looks down at this file, the red file, and starts digging through, and he pulls out a piece of paper and he hands it to Gabriel and said, "Hey, brother, it's your time. It's your turn this time." And he hands it to Gabriel, and Gabriel stands up and stands tall, and he reads to God. He said, "Yes." He said, "Yes, Lord. Um, uh, uh, planet 37 in the seventh district. Yeah, it does look like they have been progressing." He said that, "My Lord, it seems that the prayer, of the human species on that planet, has increased by 21% in the last, decade or so. And yeah, it does seem like they're trying to get spiritually correct. And and the membership up at such and such church is up by 35%. Blah blah blah. And yeah, their governments are still evil and wicked, but yeah, that's never going to change." And then Michael whispers to Gabriel, "Hey, isn't that the planet that killed Jesus?" And Gabriel says, "Shh, Michael. That's why they get the nickname the Big Ball is stupid." and then heavens ring out with laughter, and that's the end of the scene, and then commercial break. I'm like, all right. So that's what I came up with to make. If I was going to make a sitcom about God, that's what I would have done. I think it would be funny. But yeah. So I'm just a creative individual, so I come up with weird shit. Anyways, on to the next thing. So I'm sorry, I'm blind, so I don't have notes to look at. I have to remember what I wanted to say. But yeah, so Armageddon is not here for one because if if God has cycles and everything in the monoverse has cycles, and Melchizedek was here, you know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, however many thousands of years ago, uh, to prepare the way for uh, the Son of God to come, uh, then obviously Mount Melchizedek would have to return in order to prepare the second, coming, right? So until we're watching, the TV and some dude comes from somewhere, ET or whatever, and his name is Melchizedek, then we don't really have much to worry about. Now, does that mean you'll be here tomorrow? That's not a promise. Then something could happen. Things happen. Does that mean that Israel and Iran are going to become buddies? And no, it doesn't. Does that mean that Trump is plotting his revenge on the world or to the Democrat Party? Probably not. No, unless you can read the classified documents that everybody in that status gets to read, you probably don't even know what the hell's really going on. So to listen to some idiots on the news channel tell you, oh, you know, it's time to start going to church and getting right with God. Well, that's probably good advice just to do anyway, even when the threat of Armageddon, is on your front door. You should probably do it anyway, even if it wasn't. So just get right with your own inner piece of God, the spark that created your soul, because you have to return someday. Might as well you know be good with it and do good things with it. Don't take things for granted, because if I've learned anything from my near death experience was I took too much shit for granted, and now I'm blind, and I realize how much I took my eyesight for granted. Wait till you can't breathe. Wait till you don't have a body to live in. Then you realize how much you took for granted, you know. So better to have perspective and gratitude on things you do have, and quit, complaining and ailing about what you don't. Because somebody always has it worse. Somewhere, somebody has it worse than you. Think about all the lost souls that are frozen in the fire of wherever the hell exactly they are. You know, you're doing better than them, you know, hopefully. And if you're one of them, then it's time to get right, whether Armageddon's around the corner or not. But I don't believe it is. I don't believe about that.